backpacking is a very individualist endeavor. You know, what works for me doesn't work for Tim, and what works for Tim, vice versa, doesn't work for Mary. So it's really tuned to the individual. If you go out on the trail, you'll actually see very, very few groups of like 5 or 6 or 7 people all that backpack together. Usually you'll just see one, or you'll see maybe you see a group of 3, because it's pretty, you know, the pace is individual, the techniques are individual. It's all very individualistic. So, bottom line is, these are helpful hints that work for me. Tim's going to give you his helpful hints. Mary, yes, you will give your tricks of the trade as well. So you're going to talk about, we'll tell you guys what works for us. You guys can tell us what doesn't work for you or what's worked for you guys too. So this is all just a sharing time. But we're going to talk about some basics. And I guess the first thing that everybody had in the first group had questions about fitting the pack and packing the pack. So we're going to start with packing the pack, and you know that you've done an adequate job of packing your pack if you pack your pack and you go out and you hike and you get 5 or 6 miles under your belt and you come in and you think, okay, I can do that again. Alright, so basically you test it. You really need to get out with your best advice that you can gather. Put it in your pack, put your pack on, put your boots on, put the clothes you're going to wear on, and go out and do it. So we learn by doing, and we test and see if what your techniques that you're employing work by actually getting them out there on the trail. This is why we'll go out for a trip. You get about 3.5 miles in a couple hours after this little chat. So, packing the pack. The thing you want to do there, it's no more complex than this. Which is easier to carry the bowling ball? Here or here? Okay, it's a remedial class. Right here. Okay.
Intervention required.
Yeah, that's right. So you want to have that, you know, you carry your bowling ball, big heavy weight up close, because this is pulling you over. Same thing for your weight on your back. What you want to do is you want to have the heaviest things closest to your back and the small of your back. So back in here is where you want to have your heavy stuff. Now for backpackers, what's the heaviest thing they're dealing with? What was that, Julie? Goodness. What did she say?
Water.
For the camera, please. Yeah. Said the right answer. So water. So usually in most backpacks that are coming out today, they'll give you a bladder, water bladder holder, hydration system stuff, and that's going to go right up against your back. Your pack, Christy's, your pack actually had the water bladder, which is odd, but it was actually right in here, which obviously is some few millimeters closer to her back and better, you know, better stability. So we're going to talk about that for all your stuff. So the heaviest stuff goes up close to your back. So for this group, which is not just backpackers, you guys, we're doing what? We're rappelling. We got all this stuff. We got all this metal. And I'll tell you what, this is not a backpacker stuff. Backpackers, this is like insanity. So obviously, this is going to be up close to your back, because honestly, backpackers have nothing that compares to something like that. So, looking at that, first thing's water, and then you're going to build with the heaviest stuff in close, and then you go out to where you got the fluffy stuff on the back side, just kind of making up gaps, filling it in, and then some light stuff up here. And then if you've got your pack that has a compartment for your sleeping bag, it may not, but then down at the very bottom, so this is stuff that's riding below the small of your back, kind of hanging out there. That's going to be your sleeping bag, your sleeping pad, and some fluffy stuff like that, and stuff like that. So lightweight stuff down there, heavy stuff close to your back. And then once you get this all in there, you're really after balance. Okay, so all these packs are coming in with compression straps on the back, and what you want to do is once you get it all loaded up, mine's all torqued down already, but while you're packing it, these will be loose, and then once you get it all packed in, another method of getting everything close to your center of gravity is to go back and get these compression straps, you know, tighten them up, torque them down, so you're bringing all that stuff up close to your back as well. So that's packing the pack, you know, heavies, lights up here, and then the next part is really tuning your pack so that it fits.
think one thing, don't, because you know, especially like if you see me at Ramset, I shove all my harness and stuff in there. Don't do that, because anything below that small of your back is going to push down on your hips and be painful. Okay, so the whole, whether it's close to your back or far from your back, everything below here needs to be light and fluffy stuff. Okay, and if you have more heavy stuff that you can put against your back, start stacking it up on top as opposed to down low.
So yeah, so the fluffy stuff there. The oh, and then also, you know, if you ever see folks that's got all, this is bad on the catwalk, and you know, this is not backpacking on the catwalk or anything, but you got all that stuff jingling and jangling, and you look like a, you know, a gear store. Brian.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine on the rock. That's fine out there when we're on the road and stuff. But on the trail, that'll drive you crazy. Everything really should be nice, neat, compact, tucked in, not swinging, not dangling, not jerking you around. Not, you know. So hopefully you got your helmets. I mean, we're going to be packing our helmets. Pretty lightweight, but if you got something like a little mesh pad, you know, there's not much weight in there, so that would probably be pretty good. If you got something like that, stick that helmet, shove some gloves, shove stuff in there to take up that volume. But get that in your pack so it's not swinging and dangling and jangling, because that'll throw off your balance. And honestly, after 7, 8 miles,
it takes calories to counteract the swinging. And I know it sounds silly.
It sounds
silly. You got
silly.
a piece of gear swinging, you know, and you're taking 10,000 steps, and it adds up to a lot of mass moving back and forth. You have to counteract by the end of the day.
Yep. The mechanism of modern packs is to try to use 2 muscle groups efficiently, and you know, obviously we're going to have all your legs are going to be carrying everything, but how that stress is distributed is kind of up to you guys and what terrain you're on. So the first thing you do there is you want to get this hip belt to land on your hips. Okay, my hips pretty much centered up as far as that hip bone goes, and as I tighten this up, you know, the whole pack can sit right there on my hips, and it's catching me in the small of my back, and it's hugged up in there. So basically I can always put all the weight on my hips. Now for the shoulders, these modern packs here also have load lifters. Well, we'll tune these in, so you want to be able to put also the weight on your shoulders as well, and as you hike going up or down different terrains, you'll want to shift, make minor adjustments to put the stress maybe majority on your hips. Sometimes you'll shift some more up to your shoulders, just depending on how things are going. But if you shift it back and forth between those 2 muscle groups, you can kind of balance out the fatigue, so when you get to the end of the trail, you're all tired, as opposed to having cramps in your legs or cramps in your shoulders and wearing one muscle group out. So as we do the 3.5, we'll tune in on that at different times to show you the differences there, because you can give yourself a little bit of a break. But once you get that on the right location, what I saw with most of the packs as we tuned them up today was, first, we weren't real tight from the pack to the belt, and so we'll make sure we hit these straps real good. Getting those, you really just torque these down really heavy. We'll try to get the right firmness and tension on that at the right location, and then we're going to look to make sure that the load lifters up here are tuned up for the right height of position for the shoulder straps and your backs. Tim, pop up and give us how do you measure for a pack.
If you do not have your pack already and you want to know the packs, if you look, they have a measurement for the torso. Okay, it doesn't matter how tall you are, or it's the length of your torso. And so if you haven't bought a pack and you're going to try to buy one without going to a nice gear store where somebody can measure for you, the first thing you do is you find, you know, you got these hip bones here. Put your hands right on your hips with your thumbs pointing in. And as your thumbs point in, you draw a line there, and there's the bottom. That's going to be a real nice photo, isn't it? Yeah, there's the bottom. And then you need somebody to help you with this. Bend your head over, and there'll be your 7th vertebrae. It's like a knob that sticks up there. Feel it? If you take a string or a measuring tape and go from there to there, from the in between of your hips to that 7th vertebrae, that will be the torso length for buying a backpack. And if you go look at backpacks and look at the specifications, they'll say, okay, a medium is this range of torso lengths, a large is this range of torso lengths, and that'll tell you what the length is. But it's the iliac crest from the center of between your hip bones. Just put your hands on your hips, thumbs in, draw the line to that bone, measure that distance with the rope laying against your back, and you'll have it.